Get ready to get in the game. Stretch, strengthen, live, and thrive. You can be a winning athlete in the game of life. It's the Peel Appeal with author and corrective exercise specialist Matt Peel.
Hey, this is Matt Peel with the Peel Appeal podcast. How are you? What's happening in your world today? As we record this, were you part of the Snowmageddon that happened down along the Gulf Coast where I live, the New Orleans area? Oh my God, we got seemed like 4,000 inches of snow in a blizzard and literally the 100-year storm. Where were you in 2025? Well, I know where I was, enjoying the snow. So I hope you're having an amazing day today, whether it's snowy or sunny in your world. I know that we're going to bring some amazing light onto you and onto some weight loss, because weight loss is generally the number one health resolution out there. It's the number one end goal for most clients. It's who I have probably worked with the majority of time in my terms in fitness since 2008. But like I like to pride myself on the Peel Appeal, it's not just about what's trendy out there. It's about science. It's about what you can do to make the best decision for yourself right here where you are today. And ladies, this is a special episode for you because I'm talking with a female weight loss expert, also an NASM, National Academy of Sports Medicine personal trainer like myself. She comes from North Carolina. Iman Whyte with Built by Balance Fitness is going to share with us some amazing insights to help you ladies not just lose the weight, but keep it off. Welcome, Iman. How are you?
Thank you. Doing well. I also got hit with Snowmageddon up in North Carolina. We only got like an inch where I'm located, but that was enough to shut down schools and cancel everything. So yeah, they're not prepared for it down here. I don't know if you're from Louisiana, but I'm from up north. And so that to me is a joke. And to all my friends that live down here that are from up north, it's 1 inch is not enough to make anyone blink an eye up there. But down here, it's like earth shattering. So it was an interesting experience for sure.
Oh, I mean, kids were out for a week. So that was, as we record this, ladies and gentlemen, it is actually Thursday, the last week of January.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I am currently wearing shorts and a t-shirt. Last Thursday, I was bundled up as we were recovering from Snowmageddon, and there was still snow and ice everywhere. That's just a crazy weather, right?
Yep.
Especially along the Gulf Coast and the Mid-Atlantic.
Yep.
We never put away shorts and t-shirt. It's never,
Yeah.
70 degrees is only literally a day away.
I know. It's like 62 here today, too. So I was just, right before we started recording, I was coming back in from a walk, and I was like, oh my gosh, the weather's beautiful. So I'll take it.
I hear you. I hear you. Me too. Me too. So weight loss, right? Everybody wants to lose that 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 pounds. I
Yep.
hear it all the time. You hear it all the time as a trainer, as myself as a trainer. As we record this, we're still, hopefully people are still on their resolutions. Maybe
Mhm.
not. Sometimes they fall off by January 4th. You never know. So in working with females, ladies, typically 35 to 60, right? That's what you like to work with.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to us, first of all, a little bit about just metabolic health. What does that mean, especially with ladies as they get into perimenopause, menopause, post-menopause?
Yeah, absolutely. So metabolic health, I mean, your metabolism encompasses basically everything that goes on in your body without you trying. So digesting food, maintaining your heartbeat, breathing, all this stuff that you don't really think too much about, that's all affected by your metabolism and your metabolic rate. And what I think is really important to point out is that if you are not paying attention to your metabolic health throughout your weight loss journey, it's very much possible to lose weight, but it's very difficult to keep it off. And so what I see with a lot of women is, and male clients too, but I work mainly with women, is they will, they get to this point where they absolutely hate what they look like and how they feel, like, and they're finally ready to make a change. And then they're in this hyper motivated state. And that's when they come hire you and they're like, Matt, I want to get in shape. And if they're not, doing the right thing in terms of nutrition, what they're going to do is just really slash how much they eat. So they slash their calories. They start eating, skipping breakfast because fasting speeds up weight loss, or so they say. Then they're eating like a salad with a piece of chicken or salmon for lunch. And then they're eating maybe a meat and a vegetable for dinner. And they are losing weight very quickly. But then they hit this ginormous plateau and they wonder why. Well, what's going on? So then they start eating less or they start exercising more. And they may squeak out another pound or two on the scale, but then they're still stuck. And this sucks because they get stuck when they lose 15 pounds, but they have a 30-pound weight loss goal. So they're stuck like halfway through their journey and they have no idea what's going on. What they didn't realize was that throughout the process of really slashing your calories, not managing your lifestyle and taking care of your health elsewhere, or otherwise, I should say, you are slowing down your metabolism. So your metabolism works kind of like a car, right? You can't expect your car to drive if you don't have any fuel in it. Well, you can't expect your body to burn calories if you don't give it any energy to do so. And I know that sounds weird and it sounds counterintuitive, but it's absolutely true. It's like, think about building a bonfire. What do you put on a bonfire to make it bigger? Little sticks. You have to feed the fire to make the fire bigger. It's the same exact thing with your metabolism. If you're not feeding yourself properly, if you're not getting adequate rest, if you're not managing your stress, your metabolic rate will decline. You get to this point where you're burning like literally no calories. And because you're burning no calories, you can't lose weight anymore. That's a really difficult place for people to enter. That's a difficult space for people to enter in. And that's the place I find a lot of women are stuck on their weight loss journey.
Those are great insights. And you mentioned fasting, right, as a way to lose weight. And fasting is very trendy out there.
Yeah.
There's different ways to fast. And some people think, well, that's the answer to everything. Science has shown that fasting, the results from fasting are the same results if you cut calories.
Yes.
It's just a structure.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever structure works best for you is fantastic. What works for you, Iman, may not work for me, or maybe my fasting might be different, but there's not a hard and, again, pardon the pun, fast rule to you have to do it this way. Between 7 and 7 I eat, or between 6 and 6 I eat, or maybe on different days. So it's important as we work with people, especially you work with ladies out there, that they figure out what's really best that works for them in their space now.
Yeah, absolutely. You hit on something, Matt, that I want to go back to, which is at the end of the day, weight loss does come down to eating less calories than you burn. And however you make it so that you're eating less doesn't really matter technically from a scientific perspective, but I would argue that it matters a lot from a behavioral perspective. Mm-hmm. So when you think about, okay, let's say, we kind of picked on fasting a little bit. Let's look at another one, which is keto. People love to do keto. Why?
Oh,
because
so hot out there, right?
Yeah. Because when you cut carbs, so carbs hold on to water in your body, right? Think about if you drop your phone in a pool, what do they say to do? Soak it in a bucket of rice. That's because the rice draws out the moisture from your phone and can, allegedly revive your phone. Well, it does the same thing in your body. If you've got a lot of grams of rice or bread or pasta or whatever, it will hold on to water. So if you stop eating those foods, you will lose what we call water weight. It's not actual fat that you're losing. You just see a dramatic drop on the scale, and that's really motivating for people, right? Mm-hmm. The problem with keto is that for most people, you do need carbs to operate efficiently, especially if you're working out with a trainer, you're strength training, you're doing Orange Theory, you're doing F45. You need carbs to fuel your workout. You also need carbs to fuel your thyroid. Your thyroid is incredibly important in managing your metabolism. If you have a sluggish thyroid, you're going to burn less calories. This is why a lot of people with hypothyroidism or a sluggish thyroid gain weight, because they're not burning any calories. And so, we look at this diet and we say, okay, yes, this is a way that I can manage my caloric intake so that I'm burning more than I eat. But is it worth a potential slowdown in my thyroid, not being able to eat a bunch of foods I love? I mean, I haven't met a single person who doesn't like carby foods. Like, do you know anyone that doesn't like at least potatoes, rice, bread, or pasta? Like one of those?
Right. No. And that's what we crave. We like that. It's the dopamine release, and it also, gives us energy. Carbohydrates give us energy.
Right. So if you're choosing a method of losing weight that's not sustainable, that potentially damages your metabolism, you're picking a losing battle right there. And that's what I see a lot of people do because they don't know any better, right? These are the diets that are trendy right now. The big one I see a lot on my Instagram feed is carnivore. So everyone now is just cutting out everything besides meat. And it's like, yeah, that will work. And that will get you to cut out a lot of junk food, which helps a lot of people lose weight. But then you're missing out on a bunch of nutrients from fruits and vegetables. And it's really not sustainable for anyone to just eat red meat for the rest of their life. You know, you have to think about if your diet has a name or a start and an end date, it's not sustainable. I can tell you that right now. Think about 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, wherever you are in your life. Are you going to show up to your daughter's wedding and not have a slice of wedding cake because you're carnivore or keto? Like, is that the life you want to live? Probably not. And so if you don't want to do it 10 years from now, you probably shouldn't be doing it now.
You actually nailed it right on the head, and we'll comment on that, and then we're going to switch a little bit to some common weight loss mistakes. But you're absolutely right. Diet, as I always say, a diet because it has a start and an end date. You're at the wedding. You're at your daughter's wedding. Diet's over, right?
Yeah.
I've achieved my goal. So that's the difference between diet and lifestyle.
Yes.
In addition, what I like to say is the first 3 words of diet are die.
Yeah.
And the last time I did a survey out there, no one said, hey, I'm ready to die now, right?
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. So when we talk a little about diet, it's more of a noun, not a verb. You know, this is what I'm eating as part of my total calorie consumption.
Mm-hmm.
So as we get into this, and you're right, I want to have a cake, I want to have a champagne, I'm going to have my drinks because I'm there to celebrate.
Right.
So what are, as they go through weight loss, right, what are some common mistakes that you see with your clients and with your ladies?
Yeah, definitely. So before working with myself and our team at Built by Balance, a lot of people have come to us having done years of these fad diets. Yo-yo dieting is what we call it, right? So losing a bunch of weight really quickly, gaining it back or twice as much back even quicker. So I would say that's mistake number 1 is choosing a specific diet and trying to follow that specific diet, whether it's keto, carnivore, you know, intermittent fasting, whatever. I really encourage you to look at this as let me preface all of this by saying I am speaking in terms of you want to lose weight and you want to keep it off forever. If you just want to lose weight as quickly as possible and you care not at all about sustainability, this probably isn't the right episode for you because
you're right.
There are plenty of ways to lose weight really fast if you have no qualms about gaining it back, but that's not what we're talking about. So if you want to lose weight and keep it off for good, you should not be approaching this from an angle of I need to find the right diet to stick to. What you need to be doing instead is I need to find a way of eating that supports my healthy lifestyle that I want to keep doing for the rest of my life. Like what I don't think people realize this, Matt, like once you start eating healthy, you don't really have the option of eating the way you quote unquote used to, right? Now that doesn't mean you can't have indulgent meals or, you know, have junk food every once in a while. Like absolutely you should indulge in those things. But you can't just go from eating McDonald's every day and eating out every night and not paying attention to what you eat to starting to eat whole natural foods and then go back to that old diet. Because if you go back to that old way of eating, you will gain the weight back. So if you're along for the ride and you really want to make this, again, sustainable, I keep using that word, you have to accept that these are life changes that you're going to make and you're going to stick to forever, right? So that's one of the biggest mistakes I see. Another one I see is that people want to go from literally 0 to 100 so fast.
Instant gratification. Instant gratification. Instagramification. Let me restate that. Instagramification.
Yes.
You know what that means?
Yeah. So here's what happens, right? Like we talked about this a little bit earlier. They get in this spot where they're like, oh my gosh, I hate the way I look. I hate the way I feel. I need to lose this weight now. So what do? They, you know, search on Google and they find the best personal trainer. They're like, all right, I'm going to hire Matt. Matt's a great trainer. I'm going to go get, you know, workouts done with him. I'm going to sign up with for 5 sessions a week. So I'm going to go in every single day and I'm going to follow this really strict, rigid diet. And then they burn out because you can't do that forever. That's not what anyone who I know who's in great shape and in good health does. No one has that level of extreme intensity in their life. Now, maybe if you're David Goggins or something, then you're an anomaly, but I don't know a lot of women who want to adopt that routine, right? So So I think just doing too much too fast and then getting discouraged when they can't sustain what too much looks like for them, getting burnt out, right? Um, I mean, there are just so many. I'm thinking right now. I'm working with a lot of people who take Orange Theory classes at the moment and
Hmm.
helping them, and they're doing this like transformation challenge with Orange Theory,
Right,
and
January.
a lot of these women are working out like 5 6 days a week, and then they're barely eating anything, and then they're wondering why they're stuck, and it's like, boom, that's a sign that your metabolic health is not in a good spot, right?
Right,
So
right. You can't go on the vodka and just a handful of blueberries diet.
yeah,
That doesn't work.
yeah,
So you brought up some good points. And a lot of that has to do also with our mindset, right? As we come
yes,
into it, setting ourselves up for success. As I tell people, you're not going to be at the gym at 5:30 if you wake up at 6 o'clock on a daily basis. Like you're
yep,
just setting yourself up for failure. So don't even attempt that because you're looking for the way out at the beginning. So how you go into it from a mental standpoint is going to help you transition from, like we said, the diets to the lifestyle to what is sustainable and how, yes, Iman, you can continue working in this lifestyle for the rest of your life. So, how do you help the ladies that you work with on their mindset for weight loss?
yeah. I think it's important to communicate that how you start out this whole thing will really affect your results and how enjoyable this process is. So, when I first went to lose weight, I was in the spot that many of you may be in right now, where I was just disgusted with myself and how much weight I had gained. And I was like, I need to get this off as fast as possible. I don't care what it takes. So, I would go into the gym 5 days a week. I would run a mile every single day, and I would barely let myself eat anything at all. I used MyFitnessPal to track my calories, and I was eating about 1,000 calories a day. Wouldn't let myself eat more than half of an apple at one time. I mean, I was just like uber rigid with myself. And I did that all because I came at this from a place of punishing myself. I was
Hmm.
ashamed of myself for gaining weight. I didn't like the way I looked, and I wanted to punish myself. That type of mentality and mindset will lead to burnout, and it will lead to health complications. And it led to both for me. I've seen this with a lot of people. So you've got to come into this thinking to yourself, I want to make these changes because I love myself. I want to take care of myself. I want to set a better example for my friends and family, not from a place of I want to punish myself, right? Think about how
Right.
effective it is to reward somebody versus punishing them, right? Is your kid going to be more likely to clean their room if you promise them you can go to the park after? Or are they going to be more likely to clean their room if you threaten them with timeout if they don't? Probably the first one. Okay, well, you're no different. If you reward yourself, right? If you're talking to yourself in a positive manner, you're much more likely to stick with whatever you're trying to accomplish. So I think that's a big one. And then another one that I want to add is that I think this is just something in society as a whole that we can all work on is not being afraid to fail. You're going to fail on your journey somewhere. You're going to have weeks where you don't lose weight. You're going to have weeks where you have a really hard time eating healthy food. You're going to miss the gym every once in a while. And if you look at that or those instances as failures and you then kind of twist that and call yourself a failure because of it, again, that's super discouraging and that makes you want to quit. So I like to tell my clients every time you fail, it's a piece of data. That's all it is. It's a piece of data and you learn from it. So, why did you miss the gym? Oh, you went to bed too late the night before and you overslept. Why did you eat unhealthy? You had a really stressful day at work and you emotionally ate. So, you need to learn how to better cope with your stress. You know, what can we learn from this? How can we improve? So, you have to have it's called a growth mindset. You have to have that mindset that you can learn from mistakes and actually improve versus just beating yourself up and discouraging yourself over the smallest little slip ups.
So true. So true. Forgiveness. It's important for
Yes.
us to forgive and
Grace.
and
Yep.
have a short-term memory loss for these mistakes. You
Yeah.
had the party last night. Okay, great. Did you have a good time? I hope you did. I hope you made some great memories. Now today is a new day. You
Yep.
can start fresh today. Don't Yesterday was over, right? That few pieces of cake or one piece of cake and two beers, it's over with. Now we start today brand new
Yep.
and move on from there. And you can't continue to blame yourself that, oh, last week, because I hear it all the time. I know you do too.
Yep.
Oh, I had that one slice of cake and I had a margarita last Thursday. Okay, well, it's now Friday of the following week. So that day is over. You've made some other mistakes along the way. I get
Yeah.
that. So let's forgive that one. And we do have to have some confessional time with ourselves to say, okay, well, you're right. I haven't been where I needed to be for the last 4 or 5 days. It's not that margarita and piece of cake last Thursday. How about all the other days in between? So I
Yep.
think we have that mindset of some self accountability, but not crushing ourselves. That can help us get over the hump.
Yeah, I like to avoid what's called that all or nothing mentality. So I see this all the time. Let's say I have a client. Her name is Susan. Susan goes and has a margarita and cake at her girlfriend's 45th birthday party at the local Mexican joint, right?
Hmm.
But then what happens is instead of saying, "Okay, I enjoyed myself. I had a piece of cake. I had a margarita. I'm going to get up tomorrow and I'm going to get right back on track with my health goals," she beats herself up and she
Yep.
thinks to herself, that margarita and that piece of cake ruined my progress for the entire week. So I'm going to say F it and I'm just going to keep eating the crappy the
Right.
entire week, right? It's
Right.
literally throwing out the baby with the bathwater.
Right.
The analogy I like to give to demonstrate how silly this is, if you are, let's say you're driving to Target and you're parking your car in the Target parking lot, and as you turn in, you're kind of in a rush, you're not paying as much attention as you should, you scrape up against the car that's parked in the spot next to yours, right? In this moment, do you reverse your car, straighten out, check the damage, leave a note, and move on with your day? Or do you ram further into the car, put your pedal down and ram further into the car and scrape the entire side of the car and take out the side mirror along with it, right? You're obviously
Right.
not going to do that, okay? So why, when you have a little slip up on your weight loss journey, do you use that as an excuse to, ram into the car, proverbially speaking, right? It doesn't make any sense. If you forget to brush your teeth on Monday night, do you just stop brushing your teeth for the rest of the week? No. So when you look at it from that perspective, it's like, oh yeah, if I slip up for one meal, making that same mistake, allowing myself to make that same mistake for a week is ridiculous. And so I think it's important to just kind of like contextualize it and realize like no one is perfect. I'm sure you're in great shape. You're not perfect with what you eat. I certainly am
Oh,
not perfect with what I eat. I don't expect myself to be that way. I kind of follow that like 80-20 or 90-10 rule, where about 80 to 90% of the time I'm eating whole natural foods, I'm making good choices. 10 to 20% of the time I am giving myself that leeway. And the important part is I'm not beating myself up when I do make that less than ideal or quote unquote unhealthy choice.
right. Good points, Iman. Thank you for bringing that out for people and hearing it from a different perspective than just mine a lot in the male perspective but definitely to the lady listeners out there. So
For sure.
how can someone get some good information from you about jumpstarting their metabolism?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually created a free guide specifically for this because I see this being a problem with so many women. So real quick, I want to just kind of go over, if it's cool with you, Matt, some signs of a slow metabolism because I think people just assume they have a slow metabolism because they're getting older, but
Hmm.
they don't realize that there are a lot of telltale signs that it's like, okay, yeah, you might have something going on. So number one I see from a lot of women is constipation. If you're not using the
Hmm.
bathroom regularly, there may be something going on with your thyroid, with your metabolic health. Losing your hair, another very common symptom of a slow metabolism or issues with your hormones. If you're tired all the time, if you just can't seem to lose weight no matter what, if you're bloated constantly, if you're having a hard time building any muscle, these are signs like, okay, something's not right here, something's off, right? So as I started working with more and more clients, I started noticing these things in all my clients. It would tell me these like weird things that were going on. And that's when I dove into metabolic health. And what I've done is I've taken all the findings, everything I've done in my own practice with myself as well throughout my weight loss journey. I lost 20 pounds a couple years ago and I've been able to keep it off. And I put it all into a guide. So it's called our Metabolic Reboot Guide. So inside of that guide, we've got free workouts for you so that are actually going to benefit your metabolism rather than hurt it. We've got some sample ways to manage stress. That's another thing that I see a lot of women really struggle with that can affect their metabolic health. We've got healthy snacks in there. I mean, it's just loaded with stuff. So yeah, that's a free resource that you can download. And I sent Matt the link, so I'm sure he'll send it out to you guys
So
as
tell us
well.
what it is, though, Iman. Tell us what that is.
Yeah. So like I said, it's just a guide that's got like everything in it. It points out different
No,
ways.
where do you
to...
find it? Where can they find it? I'm sorry.
It's a link. I'm sure you could put it in the description, but it's just a quick link where you just click on it and you put in your name and email, and then it gets automatically sent to you.
So I think it's called builtbybalance.ac page.com/5 ways to jumpstart your metabolism. Is that
Yes, that would
Okay.
probably be it. Yeah.
All right. So that's a lot in there. So listen. So read the show notes, and I'll post that in there. Then you can follow you on the Insta gratification gram at
Built by Balance Iman. Yep.
Built by Balance Iman, and that's IMAN Iman. And then you also have a Facebook group, or should they just go to your Instagram and then link to there that way?
Yeah. So, I mean, you'll see it on my Instagram. I talk about it all the time. But I have a free Facebook group. It's called the Female Fat Loss Blueprint. I share a lot of free guides, trainings, do like mini podcasts and stuff like there. I post recipes, healthy recipes all the time. But if any of what I said today resonated with you in terms of, oh my goodness, maybe I need to take a look at my metabolic health, or maybe I need to switch my mindset, that's all linked in there. And I talk about that all the time.
And your email address, can we hand that out so people
Yeah,
can just
for
email
sure.
directly? Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
if anything resonated with you or you need help, it's Iman@builtbybalancefitness.com.
Awesome. And that's IMAN,
Yep.
Iman. Awesome. That was fantastic. I appreciate you being on the show and sharing these things with the ladies out there. Because they're going through their perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, and all those hormonal changes. So this is great information. Thank you, Iman.
Thank you.
Awesome. So this is Matt Peel with the Peel Appeal podcast. If you like what you heard, please subscribe, listen to it. And then if you like this hearing me talk, you can go to Amazon and you can get the audiobook of The Athlete in the Game of Life. Why? Because I'm the one that narrates it. I wrote it. I narrated it. The only thing I haven't done is put out the video. Maybe I'll have to do that at some point too. But anyways, thank you for listening. Thank you for coming on today, Iman. And I will talk with you later. So this is Matt Peel with the Peel Appeal podcast. Have a great day.
Are you ready to get in the game? Get personal help, sign up for our newsletter, and pick up your copy of Athlete in the Game of Life, the book, all at mattpeel.com. Thanks for listening.